So if we pretend if nothing else as a mind game, imagine an alternative universe with completely different laws of nature, where this kind of things would actually be theoretically possible. Not only that, perhaps even they did actually happen once in a while. And then imagine some average guy at my age, about my age, and perhaps a bit similar in appearance and life experiences and all that kind of stuff, who actually would end up in a situation like this one. How practically, how is he supposed to handle this situation? Because it really can't be handled in any way. Nevertheless, it must be handled, and there's no support whatsoever to expect from the outside world, because they have a completely different conceptions of the whole situation. You can't really convince people about being mentally healthy, because that's the very not so solid core of this whole mythological system. And it's not even relevant that he appears now not to have any mental issues, because even if that might be so, nevertheless, they have become so much worse lately, so they must be dealt with either way. And this might perhaps appear more or less like an impossible situation. No matter what he will do, it will be explained in terms of mental unhealth, and will be regarded as psychiatric symptoms, something. And trying to appear healthy will, just as everything else, just only confirm what has been said, because that will be a sign of him pretending or not being willing to realize or accept how things are. So the only thing that he actually has to use is madness. And I've already mentioned this popular metaphor. I've already used it, the double-edged sword. And in a way, this might perhaps be an example of this. Like I said, insanity is the only thing that he has in his box, like Pandora's box, when he opened it, and everything he had just escaped and spread out all over the world. forever lost. And fast like hell, he jammed that lid shut again. And there was one last thing that Pandora managed to save by doing so, and all that those things had started to fill the world. In the bottom of that little box, there was one thing left, and that was hope. The hope, which is not the case in this situation. This guy, after getting the lid back on the box, the thing that he managed to keep safe wasn't hope. It was insanity. And it may appear to have less value. At least you must be aware that they are very different things, and making use of one, making use of the other, become very different kind of processes naturally. Then now, if this actually is the one thing, the only thing that he has to make use of, yeah, then let's actually do so. Give them all the insanity they may possibly hope for, and more than that, because this monster machine, this creature from hell, it's so damned greedy that no matter what you feed it, it will devour it without a second thought. So let's keep feeding this beast until it explodes. Because, at some point, I don't know how far this must be taken, but at some point, the madness will become so great, so large, that it really is not credible to anyone. And what might actually be the point with this is, like, as I mentioned, trying to argue, explaining things is usually fruitless, because you can't really ever convince people about anything, whether it's true or not, and that is not very strange, because basically it's might be healthy to be skeptical. The only way to change the ways of people is hoping or helping them to change their minds by themselves, because this is actually how what has made all this possible, because no one has actually received any kind of actual information or instruction, just a notion. And the rest has been a matter of their own imaginations. So let's revert this whole thing. And I'm afraid that this will actually turn out to be a lot more troublesome and painful than I would ever have imagined, and some real dramatic confrontations and some serious blows. I have no idea what I may expect be left of me if after all this. Still, what actual choice do I have?